What happens when our hero paladin goes through a villain arc? They become a Dark Knight. Alright, hello everyone, this is Venom, and we are back for another build video. As promised, today I'm bringing you my Dark Knight build. This is the opposite of the Paladin build I showed you guys last time. That one was a Stronghold Solar subclass build that relied on using your healing grenades and keeping restoration times 2 up using solar weapon kills. Today we're using the Dark Knight build, which is going to be a Stronghold build revolving around the Strand subclass and using a Strand bow, along with a Strand primary, and using a lot of different ways to suspend enemies. It's going to give us a lot more defensive and offensive options. This build is going to be a real beast. Now, what is this build capable of, and what kind of content can we take it into? Well, this build was handcrafted for Grandmasters. Now, this is the exact build, besides the bow I'm using, this is the exact build that I used to do Grandmasters last season, and this is the one where I took several people through and did the light blade and was able to just go through without dying whatsoever. I was able to support the team and I was able to just blow through that content like it was nothing. This is a very, very fun build to use. Just like any other build though, it's going to take a lot of skill and practice to use it, but once you have got that practice down, you're not going to be able to die with this. As long as you're playing it correctly, you will literally be invincible with this build. Now, how does the build work? Well, just like last time on my Paladin build, the entire thing revolves around the Stronghold exotic. Now, what this does is it maximizes the guard of your sword. Now, to say it maximizes your sword's guard is a bit of an understatement. It makes it to where when you're blocking, you A, have infinite blocking energy, and B, you take barely any damage at all, if any. Most damage, you're not going to take anything at all, and the strongest attacks in the game are only going to do chip damage to you. For example, you can literally block a tank shot in a Grandmaster, and it's not even going to do a quarter of your health. Most damage is going to do maybe a couple of pixels of health to you, and you're still going to be able to heal that back anyway. You're going to be able to heal that because of two things. One, while you're blocking, you're going to be building up something called Perfect Guard. You build up Perfect Guard when blocking with a sword with Strongholds. When you then attack, when you've got Perfect Guard maxed out, or high up there, you're going to automatically activate Restoration times 2. That's going to heal you very rapidly. Now, the second part of this is that we're going to have another layer of healing on top of that versus our solar build, and that is going to be the Banner of War. And we're going to go and hop over. I'm going to show you the aspects. Now, the Banner of War is an aspect for Titans, and it says, defeat a target with a melee attack, finisher, or sword to raise Banner of War that pulses with energy, periodically healing nearby allies and increasing melee and sword damage, okay? Targets defeated by you and nearby allies charge the banner, increasing the speed of its pulses. Basically, you're going to want to get a kill. You're going to get a kill with a sword or a finisher or your melee attacks. It's going to activate Banner of War, and as long as your allies are near you, any kills you guys get is going to continuously charge up Banner War up to times 4. And the higher the charge you got, the more additional healing you're going to be doing. Now, the thing about Banner War is it's not just going to heal you, it's also going to heal your teammates. So unlike the other build we showed you where it's only going to be healing you, and you would only heal your teammates using your healing grenade, which any class could do, Banner War is going to be healing everybody. So you're going to have double the healing for the last build, and you're going to be able to help out your teammates. Now, to go along with that, we're also going to be using the Drenger's Last aspect. This is going to make it to where when you use your class ability, which will be your Towering Barricade, just like we did last time, you're going to shoot out a lash that is going to suspend enemies in the air. Now, most of this build is going to match exactly what we had for the Restoration build, or for Solar, except this is going to be the Strand take on it. So we got the Drenger's Lash. We, of course, have Banner of War. And for our grenades, we're going to be using our Shackle Grenade. So in the other one, we used a Healing Grenade. This time, we're going to be using the Shackle Grenade to suspend enemies. Now, you can swap this out for a Grapple Grenade if you want to, depending on the content you're doing. You may want to get to high place, but for the most part, you're going to want to use your Shackle Grenade. Now, of course, there's only one melee on here. That is the Frenzied Blade. As always, use whatever jump you want to. And use your Towering Barricade. Next up are fragments. The first fragment we're going to be using is going to be Thread of Generation. Dealing any damage from any source to your opponents is going to help regenerate your grenade. That's going to help you toss out your Shackle Grenade more. Next up, we've got Thread of Warding. We are going to want to have an additional layer of armor on us, and that's going to be from Woven Mail. And with this one, picking up an Orb of Power grants you Woven Mail. To go along with that one, we're going to be using the Thread of Transmutation. While you've got Woven Mail, Weapon Final Blows create a tangle. Not Strand Weapon, but Weapon Final Blows. So as long as you got a Woven Mail going, you're going to be creating a lot of tangles. And finally, to help keep enemies suspended longer, we're going to be using the Thread of Continuity. That's going to make it to where Suspend, Unravel, and Sever effects all have increased duration. All your strand effects are going to last longer. Now, as far as your stat spreads, just like last time for the Paladin build, you're going to want to first max out your resilience. Again, you're going to want to do that for any Grandmaster build for the most part, but for on a Titan, it's especially important. Max out your resilience. Next up, you're going to want to max out your discipline, and just like last time, even though it is very counterintuitive for you, especially for veteran players, you're going to want to get as many points in mobility as you can. Again, you cannot run where you have your sword. Mobility determines how quickly you can strafe, move side to side, and how fast you walk. Without running, you can only walk when your sword is out, so to increase that movement speed and increase your mobility, you're going to want to actually put points in that mobility stat. Again, it's counterintuitive if you're a veteran, but go ahead and pop in whatever extra points you got into mobility once your resilience and your discipline is up. Alright, now going into our helmet mods. Again, just like last time, we're going to be using, depending on what content you're doing, either 2 copies of Heavy Ammo Finder if you're solo, or like I said last time, 1 copy of Heavy Ammo Finder and 1 copy of Heavy Ammo Scout. Again, when solo, 2 copies of Finder. If it's in a group, 1 copy of Finder and 1 copy of Scout. Of course, we're going to have on our Harmonic Siphon. We are going to be creating Arms of Power from Strand Final Blows. So we're going to be using a Strand Sword, and we're going to have a Strand Primary, so those are going to help us generate Orbs of Power to regenerate our energy. Now, just like the other build, we're going to be using Heavy Handed. Again, we're not going to be doing very much, if any, damage with our grenades. It's going to be suspending enemies, not really going to be damaging anything, so we're not going to be generating any Orbs of Power from that. Now, for the other mods, I typically still use 2 copies of Focusing Strike. However, with this build, you have a bit more wiggle room than you did on the solar build. So you could go ahead and toss in something like Fastball, which is going to improve your throw distance for your grenade, which is going to make your shackle grenades go further. You could do something like Impact Induction, which when you cause damage with your powered melee, it's going to reduce the cooldown on your grenade. Again, it's going to be damage, not kill, so that's going to be great for Grandmasters. Or you can go ahead and do something like Grenade Kickstart. So again, that one's going to be more your own preference. I personally do a lot of melee, so I like to go ahead and toss in the 2 copies of Focusing Strike. Again, just like in our other build using the Solar subclass, we're going to use 2 copies of Loosened Blade, and we're going to be using a copy of Harmonic Reserves. For the legs, we're going to be using the Absolution mod, just like we did last time. We're going to definitely have on a Recuperation mod, and then your last mod is either going to be an Invigoration if you want to increase your melee more, or if you want to get more grenade energy back, you use the Innervation instead. And finally, for the class mods, you definitely want to have Proximity Ward on for this one. Last time I recommended it highly, this time it's going to be a must-have. You're going to be doing a lot of finishers, and you're going to need to do that because that's going to help you proc Banner War. It's one of the easier ways to proc it, getting a finisher with Proximity Ward on. If you just try to go in for a melee kill, you're going to be a bit more exposed, even when you're using a sword or trying to get a sword kill, but getting a finisher with the overshield with Proximity Ward is going to protect you and help you kind of guarantee that you proc that Banner War safely. After that, I also recommend the Powerful Attraction mod, and then probably the Reaper mod, or just a second copy of Powerful Attraction. The rest of the mods aren't really going to help you too much. You're not going to need anything like Time Dilation. You're not really going to need Explosive Finisher, so we'll go ahead and either do the Reaper or do a second copy of Powerful Attraction. Now, we've loaded up into a Legend Lost sector. I'm going to demonstrate how this build works. So, you're going to pull out your sword, and you're going to immediately begin blocking damage. Now, of course, you can see we take very little, if any, damage at all. We got a grenade here in front of us. We can see we just shrug it right off. Barely any damage. You can see as we're blocking, we're getting our stacks of Perfect Guard up. Once it's high, either maxed out or close to maxed out, you want to go ahead and attack an enemy. Now, if you kill it, great. If not, also great. But you can see now we've got Restoration ×2 on. With a Restoration ×2 on, you can see I am healing all the damage I'm taking very, very quickly. Okay? Now, we're going to take this one step further. Now that we've got Strand on, we can also activate Banner War while we've got on Restoration ×2. So you see I've got my Banner War going. We got Restoration ×2. We are healing everything being thrown at us. Now, unlike the solar version of this build though, we can now also go on the offensive much, much easier because of our stasis grenades, or our solar grenades. Now, as you can see, my Titan was able to knock out that lot sector, no problem. Even in the times where it looked like I was in a little bit of danger, my health would come back just like that. And in the times where I almost died, all I had to do was pull a sword out and I can block all the damage that was coming into me, let my health come back a quarter second later, and then go right back into the fray. Almost at no point, except when I was almost at no point was I out of the fray. I was pretty much in it the entire time. And on top of that, along with the swords you're using, along with your abilities, you've got an awesome super that can also stun everything around you and then take them down with a lot of damage as well. So again, this is the Dark Knight build. You guys can see what it's capable of. This build is going to be, again, one you're going to have to get used to using, however. From the best builds you're going to come across, they're going to take a lot of skill to use. You're not going to be able to just run out and just block damage and then enemies are going to die. You're going to have to pick and choose your targets. You're going to have to actually get used to it. You've got to still isolate enemies and going after the correct ones. You've got to use finishers all the time. Whenever you see a chance for finisher, use your finishers. Those are the safer kills to get. Every finisher you get is also going to charge up your banner of war, so you definitely want to go for finishers. Again, this one you're going to want to practice with. You're going to want to go in. Don't try to go into this one thinking it's just a melee build. It's just another tool in your toolkit that just happens to be very, very powerful. Don't go into it thinking you're going to spend the entire time blocking. That block is just a tool for you to activate a healing ability or to go and resurrect a fire team member who has gone down or to get past a ton of enemy fire to get to a safer point. It's not a way to win. It is a way to defend yourself to get to that win condition. So keep that one in mind. Again, an incredibly powerful build. I love it. I'll probably make a Stronghold build for every single class at some point, but for now, I'm going to go ahead and go to a different class. We're going to go to the Hunter. So we've done 2 Titan builds back to back. We're going to go ahead and do a full build on the Hunter, and just like last time, I do a preview at the end of the episode. So, like I said, this is our second build video. Thank you guys so much. Like I said, I've been enjoying making these build videos. I'm hoping I can make them more often. We'll at least continue to make them. Like I said, I'll be going back to making short skin here in a little bit, but for now I want to go ahead and make some full build videos to go along with those shorts. And again, it's just more stuff I can bring out to you guys. Again, not everybody has the same information, and every video is somebody's first, or it could be somebody's first time looking at build videos. You never know. So that's going to do it. Thank you all for coming by. Sub to the channel if you like what we're doing. Please leave a like or comment down below. If you want to see a certain build, you want me to do a certain build, leave a comment down below and I'll try to do that build. There's not a lot of comments yet, so if you put a comment down there saying you want to see a certain build, you'll probably see it pretty soon. So thank you all for coming by, and here's a preview of our next build.